2025 Public Arts Meeting to order. Miss Christina, may we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Marks?
Here.
Commissioner Mojica?
Present.
Commissioner Strouder?
Present.
Vice Chair Travis?
Present.
Chair Liebelt?
Sitting right here. Okay. Agenda finalization. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Chair, there's one change that I would just like to make for ordering purposes. Item D on your agenda is consideration of appointment for one or two commissioners to participate in stakeholder interviews for the zoning code update. I'd like to ask that be moved up first so that we can release the staff member that's here to talk about that. And
Sure.
then, we'll proceed with the rest of the agenda, which will start with a presentation.
Okay, sure. Sounds good to me. Okay, so...
Is that okay with the rest of the commission?
What's that?
Is that okay with everyone?
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
We're going to move up the last item to make it the first
Couldn't
item.
hear anything.
It's okay, I know. We're going to move the last item to the first item. D. Yeah. Hey, guys, okay?
Oh.
A-okay.
All right. So good evening, Commissioners and Chair. I'd like to just take a minute to make a brief presentation for you. And I have with me Cynthia Schultz, who's a member of our planning staff. And Cynthia is going to be leading the zoning code update for the city. And part of that process is going to be a variety of community engagement, both with the general community as well as individual stakeholders, and also the opportunity for members of our boards and commissions to participate in that. And so I just wanted to give Cynthia the floor for just a couple of minutes to just introduce, tell you about this project, why the city's doing this, and see if one or two of you would like to participate in stakeholder interviews. I also would like to say just a little something about Cynthia is Cynthia came to us from Colorado, and she used to be the liaison with their Public Arts Commission from the city that she came from. So she's been very helpful in talking through different ideas as I've also been learning my way in this environment. So it's nice to have somebody else on staff who has that same experience.
Great.
Well, thank you very much
Welcome.
for the welcome.
Nice to have you here.
Yes, Cynthia Schultz, Associate Planner here at the city. I've been here for about a year. And as Ann mentioned, one of the things one of my primary chief duties here is to be the project manager, project lead on an update to our zoning codes. We're actually calling it a development code so that we can help facilitate really good development for this community. We realize that we have some unique opportunities and we really want to play off of those. So one of the first things that we're going to do in order to solicit feedback into our code, and what we need to do is to conduct a series of stakeholder interviews. Now, when I say we, what I really mean is Mintier Harnish, who is our consultant on this project. So the stakeholder interviews won't involve staff, so Ann won't be on it, I won't be on it. It will just be our consultant team. We may have some of those stakeholder interviews be in groups, so that might be a member of this board and a member of another board to be together, and then it creates a little bit of cross-play in the conversations so that the consultant team can get some really good feedback. So what we're looking for is we've engaged a couple of members, actually 3 members from the public, I'm going to get it wrong.
Parks and Community Events.
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. And we are looking for 1 or 2 members from this board as well, so that we can all participate in the stakeholder interview engagement and feedback seeking. Any questions for me?
This is going to be approximately a 2-year process for the city.
What's the kind of time commitment you're looking at?
Sure, I figured they'll probably be about an hour to an hour and a half long meeting. It'll be a one meeting, one shot, and you're done.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just one time, literally? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just one
For
time.
this portion of it.
Oh, for this portion?
yeah.
I figured over 2 years, that seems like not,
Yes.
it'll be more than that over 2 years.
Yeah.
This is one small piece of the community and stakeholder engagement that will be going on throughout this.
Right.
Right, yeah, it'll be a 2-year-long process. And throughout that, there will be other meetings, there will be public engagement meetings. So this isn't your only opportunity, but please, if you are part of the stakeholder interview and you do want to follow the project and see how it develops, I would invite you to participate in the public meetings that we have. There will be several public workshops and public meetings. And even if you're not one of the stakeholders, I invite you, your colleagues, your people that you work with, your artists, anyone who would like to have a part or a seat or a voice on that, or even if they just want to watch the process unfold, certainly please do contact us and follow the project.
Cynthia, one quick thing. Could you explain to the commission what the zoning code does or what it is for the city?
Sure, I can do that. That's a great question. So the zoning code is really the regulations that we have for how development happens in the city. So that means zoning, meaning what uses are allowed in what properties, along with how high buildings can be, how far they have to be set back from property lines, that type of thing, and everything in between. So it also talks about development standards, things like noise limitations, smell limitations, things of that nature. So we have a whole code, and right now we meet with our code was adopted back in 1981, and it's been amended many times since then. However, the general construction, the way that the code sits right now, we get inquiries from our development community, from businesses who want to do things that are up and coming, and they're really told no, because our code is very limiting. So what we're doing is we're going to look at what we've got, find what's good about it, find what's bad about it, scrap that one and start over. And we're calling this one a development code.
Okay. Is this something that you need us to let you know right now, or?
They're going to be doing interviews in February, so we just wanted to take this opportunity that if anyone wished to be part of that, to just say yay. And so I
would
saw
like to do it.
Commissioner Travis and Commissioner Mojica? Okay.
I'm just trying to get a sense of like what what concerns you think we could bring to the table. I mean, I'm not quite sure what you want from us, you know. Can you expand on that? And can you speak closer to your mic, because I can't hear a thing?
Sure. So some of the things that we'll be looking for, of course, you're on a professional board as advisory to City Council. So we'd be interested in your perspective as arts commissioners. At the same time, we're also going to be interested in how you see our community and what things you would be looking for as a community member as well. So we're asking you to put on two different hats to provide feedback as a stakeholder. And you can choose one or the other, or you can choose both. So we're looking for things like, we really need to have more places for public art. We really need to have more places for public space or public forum for us, that kind of thing.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
All
I
right.
totally understand now.
So you said they're going to be interviewing, so anybody can say they want to do this, and then they're going to select people to do that, or?
No, we're just looking for one or two volunteers from the
Okay.
commission that would like to represent the commission, and that'll be it. Right
Okay.
now, we have two commissioners that have volunteered, and just wanted to see if you all support that.
Yes?
Okay,
Yes, absolutely.
all right.
All right.
Yes.
Terrific. Thank you so much for your interest.
Thank you for
and
being
your
here.
time.
Yep, thank you.
And I'll provide you their contact information.
And Chair Liebelt, before we move on, I'm going to ask for
We're going to go back up to
I'm going to ask for public comments on this item.
public comments?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none, Chair.
Okay, so we're going to jump back up now to the number one item.
Jump back to number one.
Actually,
Yep, public
Chair.
comments?
Did I miss something?
sorry, Chair, yes, so I asked for public comments on the item, but we do need to open it up to general public comments. That was after agenda
it.
finalization, so I'll go back. And
To
go
the
ahead.
very top.
Yes, sir, and if you could please read that statement of participation?
Yes, I can. Yeah. Okay, this is the opportunity for members of the public, to comment on any items not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the commission may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The chair may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment, or may request a matter be agendized for a future meeting. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes.
I did not receive any request to speak forms. If you're a member of the public who wish to comment on something other than the agenda, please raise your hand. I see none, Chair.
Okay. So then the next thing we're going to move forward to then is the approval of the minutes. Approval of the Public Arts Commission meeting minutes of January 14th, 2025. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on the minutes?
I did not receive any request to speak forms. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on the minutes, please raise your hand. I see none.
Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? Looks like no. Do I have a motion and a second to approve?
Move to approve.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schroeder and a second by Commissioner Marks. Please vote. And motion carries, all ayes.
Okay, so now we're going to move to the agenda. The presentation on the third annual Down Syndrome International Film Festival. Anne, may we have an introduction, please?
Yes, good evening again, Commissioners. I'd like to bring up community member and former Public Arts Commissioner Alan Carvalho, who asked to make this presentation to the Commission tonight about the Filmmakers Gallery, as well as about the third annual Down Syndrome International Film Festival. And with that, I'll turn it over to Alan for the presentation.
Thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Commissioners. It's exciting to be here. I haven't been here in a while. I mean, I've been in this room, but I haven't seen you guys for a while, and thank you for keep making us proud, keeping us informed, and the artwork out there is working. I love the windmills. It's great. Thank you. My name is Alan Carvalho, a proud former member of this commission, serving 6 years as chair. I've received the honor of being on the board of the Filmmakers Gallery. I'm a filmmaker. We're a nonprofit organization here in Cathedral City where we do public screenings of classic television and movies of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. We invite stars of those shows to come in, and after the screenings, we have a question and answer period. We're looking to make the Public Arts Commission aware of our presence here in the city and also to see how we qualify for funding in the Arts Grant Program. We work tightly with Ted Hain over at the Mary Pickford, so all of the work that we're doing is there. And we also do some of the work in the arenas area at the Quads Bar on Wednesday. We have an event that we do there weekly. So that's pretty much it. I would like right now to introduce you to Yadira Regla, who's the founder and president of Ezekia's Gift of Love, Coachella Valley Down Syndrome Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, good evening. Like he said, my name is Yadira Regla, and I'm the proud mother of Ezekiel, who's my son. He's now 9 years old, and I'm the founder and president of Ezekiel's Gift of Love, Coachella Valley Down Syndrome Foundation. 3 years ago, or a little bit more because of COVID, we had the pleasure of meeting the Filmmakers Gallery. We found out that they had a great cause and to heart our foundation, and then we came to figure out their story and how it connected with ours. And our mission is to provide support, educate, and instill hope to all individuals with Down syndrome here in the community of the Coachella Valley. We service from Blythe all the way to Riverside. And then we also have families that come from Tijuana, Mexico, Texas, different parts of the world that follow us as well, and they receive support through us as well. But just here locally, it's been amazing to be able to have a platform that we could not have reached without the film festival that has been that we've been a part of. For a lot of our families, when they receive an initial diagnosis of Down syndrome, it's always followed by, "I'm sorry," and your child has or will have, and so from the beginning it's set up to have such a detrimental, like a death sentence. And what we're trying to do and still hope is that it's not. Our children can accomplish great things. It takes a lot of work. I mean, my little guy's been in therapy since he was 4 months old, but now he sits in a general education classroom and he plays baseball. He's been swimming independently for 5 years. He speaks a lot of colorful words that I'm not very proud of, but I know he works so hard to learn as well. And so when we see individuals in the big screen, we know that not everybody's going to make it on the big screen, but that goes for typical people too, right? So to be able to see someone up there who can memorize their lines, who can withstand tolerance of like uncomfortable situations. That takes a lot. And so as a community, we don't take that for granted. So we celebrate all the wins. And when we see someone who's represented in social media or in advertising, for us, it's a win, because that could have easily been our child. And we know the struggle and the challenges that it takes to be out there. So when we see films like this, it really brings hope. It's been very inspiring for a lot of our families and caregivers as far and including educators as well. A lot of educators don't really believe in inclusion or really just do it for the job. But when they get to see our family members hitting the big screens, or, my son was featured in New York City on the Jumbotron for 2 years in a row. And so to be able to travel over there and see him, that was like, oh my gosh. And now last year we had 4 families that got to go travel and see their family members. So it really is inspiring and gives us hope that we can do that too. And it's not for everybody, right? Not everybody wants to be in TV or in this hard industry, but we have artists, we have dancers, we have an event coming up next month, and we have folklorico dancers, mariachis, and all of them have an intellectual disability or Down syndrome. And so to be able to see them up there on stage, it's a win for the entire community. So we are very grateful as a parent and as a founder for the opportunity to partner up with amazing people like the Filmmakers Gallery.
Great. Sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's about my time limit.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
I think you were very good and concise and articulate, so I think you did great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. What we want to do now is show you a 90-second clip of the events that we've had in the past with this particular film festival. Let me just go on and play this for you.
The Down Syndrome International Film Festival honors people with developmental disabilities.
Hey bartender, you assume that I cannot drink a margarita, so you don't serve me a margarita? So I don't drink a margarita. Your assumption becomes reality. And parents, you assume that I cannot live on my own, so you don't encourage me to live on my own. So I don't live on my own.
I'm Poppy Thompson. A family business. What about my apprenticeship day?
Mr. Markovich, I will offer you community service, coaching adults with intellectual disabilities.
We're going to do a simple ball handling exercise.
My girlfriend loves this.
Hey, this is Cindy calling from Albert High School. There's a bunch of zombie bodies in the cafeteria.
You guys want to tell me something about your upcoming movie?
Our zombie movie is Addict. Yeah, can you do action?
Yeah.
Sex, stunts.
PG-13, no sex.
Stunts. Oh, hell yeah.
Stop laughing! Down Syndrome is a professional artist group of people with Down Syndrome, and we are the best.
Thank you. We're excited. Having it here especially, sorry, let me just pause this for a minute here. Being here in the city, I've been here for 14 years. Something as important as this, we all love films, we all love movies, and to see young people being represented is encouraging and exciting, and we're seeing it more and more, which is great. So we're real excited to be here. I'm going to introduce you to the founders. Thank you. Come up and introduce yourselves.
Let Stephen take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Roach, and I'm the co-founder with my husband, Paul Belcito. Of the Filmmakers Gallery, and I'm the president and the director of development, and Paul is the vice president and the executive director. But thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
What prompted you to start this?
That's what we're going to lead into. My nephew, Ryan Landry, who is a multiple Special Olympics award winner, lives in Texas, and he used to live out here. I'm
originally from Orange County, Huntington Beach, California. So grew up a lot with Ryan, and over the years, I became his favorite uncle, and he would attend our events when we had our brick and mortar filmmakers gallery in Long Beach, California. He was always happy, content, loved what we did, and attended many of the events and got to meet Jamie Brewer, his idol from American Horror Story. And she has Down syndrome, the actress has Down syndrome. And his biggest moment was getting to attend a screening that we had with Jamie at our venue, and he got to sit next to her, and the two of them, I looked over and he was holding her hand, and my heart melted, because at that moment I realized we were doing something that was such an impact, not only to people like Ryan, but for future people with disabilities like Down syndrome, to have a vision, to know that he kept looking at the screen, looking at Jamie and thinking, wow. He turned to me, he says, Uncle Paul, I want to marry her. So that gave us an inspiration. So when we moved out here to the desert, we decided to keep the name. We no longer had the brick and mortar. We closed that a year after we moved here. And we decided to start doing business with the theater, which we got lucky to start off with the Palm Springs Cultural Center, did that for a few years. And then when we moved to Cathedral City, we wanted to venture and broaden our horizons. And we're lucky enough to work with Ted Hain at the Mary Pickford, and we've been doing great events there. And actually, this will now be the second year of us hosting, producing and hosting this year's third. We call it now the DSI Down Syndrome International Film Festival. So we couldn't be happier. And going back to Ryan, this year will be his first year attending the festival, because living in Texas, he wasn't able to make the first one into the second. So we're pretty excited to have Ryan attend this year's festival. So that's super exciting right there. I'll let you take over.
So we're still programming the festival, but we already have a commitment, a film from Bosnia, so the filmmaker and one of his actors are coming, so we're thrilled about that, and films from, of course, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Europe, so we're still putting together the program.
Awards.
So we do have juried awards that we present, so this is a sample of what we give to the filmmakers.
And it's the world, the globe, to kind of show that it's, reaching out to all the countries and bringing everybody together. So
Ted Hain and Damon and Mary Pickford have been great partners. So we're actually a preferred partner of theirs. We met 2 years ago, had a meeting, and they said we want to support Filmmakers Gallery and help you guys grow. So they've been great to work with. So besides, as Alan mentioned, we do a weekly program at Quads. We also do standalone single night screenings throughout the year, and on Thursday, February 27th, we're doing our second winter Short Fest. So we like to give voice to independent filmmakers and bring them to the community, introduce them to Cathedral City. So it's an LGBTQ winter Short Fest.
So I want to know, when are you guys going to make a film?
We actually have. We did a documentary called Teach Your Children Well about bullying in America's schools in 2012, and Lily Tomlin was our narrator, so we were very fortunate. And Lily actually helped complete the funding for the film, so we're still blown away to this day that, wow, that's pretty amazing. She made one phone call and we got funding, so.
It's amazing. That's amazing. That's great. Nope.
But we're very fortunate to live in a great city like Cathedral City. We just have been loving what we're doing here. Mary Pickford we feel like that's, more fitting to what we do, especially for this festival. We've been getting nothing but great praise of people who have attended events. Not only people that have the families with the people with disabilities, Downs kids, Downs adults. We get people like from, we're a married couple. We've been married for almost
11 years.
11 years. Didn't want him to say you got that wrong. 11 years. And so there's, with us being a married couple or LGBTQ, we're also, symbols of that part of the community. So we have our following from that as well. So people will get curious, and like the question you asked earlier, so what's your affiliation with what we're doing for Down syndrome? They get curious and they go and they are blown away and they want to come back to see it again and again and again now.
So the criteria is it's by or about. So films that have Down syndrome characters, or we've actually shown films where the filmmakers themselves had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So.
And this year, there's since you saw the one up there, the Matt and I forget the other character's name. Well, they're true life filmmakers, and they make a zombie movie, and it's the making of.
So it's a documentary about making the zombie movie,
and then they show the little short movie at the end of the film. So I think that's great.
It is, and I thought the awareness came with the movie, was it Peanut Butter Falcon?
We
And that
showed
brilliant young man, I just loved him. I loved that
came
movie.
out.
And then he came to the Palm Springs International Film Festival. He was here and he spoke, and I thought it was just amazing and eloquent. And
He was at ours too, yes.
Oh, was he? Oh,
Yes.
great, yes.
Yeah.
Incredible, incredible young man, yeah.
Zach's amazing.
He was amazing. So.
I think that Alan asked at the beginning was how to apply and be eligible for grants. That's going to be our next item on the agenda that we'll be talking about tonight is the next grant project or grant process. The current fiscal year that we're in, the city council voted to approve a small grant program for community arts grants. So the total dollar amount for the total bucket of money that's available is $20,000. And the commission will be starting that process to go out for grants and award the next round that will be funding from July 1st, 2025, with a performance period that will end in June 30th, 2026. So we'll have the full fiscal year next year for funding. So the question about funding is timely because the application process will be starting soon.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. That's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anybody else?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. We
Thank
also
you,
just
Commissioners.
wanted to say one more thing. We would like to be given an opportunity to speak to the high school students because I know the data program is very much involved, and being that we're experienced filmmakers, we would love the opportunity to volunteer to come to the schools and speak about the program and how they could be part of our group and a part of our funding.
Fantastic, great.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you all. Thank you, we appreciate it so
Thank
much.
you very much for your time.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
And can I ask you a random question about the grant?
Yes.
Oh, I'll wait, we'll let it get
Okay.
started.
We'll be starting next.
Okay, so then that brings up the next item on the agenda. We're going to review the.
Shirley Bell, so sorry to interrupt.
Comments, public comments.
I do need to ask, sir.
Yep.
If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none, Chair. Thank you.
So now we can move on.
Yes, sir.
Hey, yep, thank you ever so. So we're going to review applications for the fiscal year 25-26 Community Arts Grant Program and make any changes needed to the application process. Ms. Ann, may we have an introduction, please?
Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. Hang on. It did. That's okay. Oops. Pardon the technical difficulties. All right, good evening again. So the item that we do need some action on tonight is the discussion about whether you wish to make any changes to the public arts grant. So as we know, just by way of background, in this fiscal year, the City Council approved a community arts grant program to be administered by the Public Arts Commission. A budget of $20,000 was allocated. And for the first round of applications, the Commission received 20 applications, and of those 20 applications, 4 organizations received funding. We're already starting to see some of the fruits of that coming out from the Cathedral City Senior Center, I think it's been 3 programs already that they have put out that have been partially funded already through the grant program. And we started this initial phase kind of mid-year, so the full performance period was only from about mid-October through the end of June 2025. So this first round, the awardees did not have a full 12 months to perform what they wished to do under the grant. So we're trying to correct that and get on schedule this year. So I've actually coordinated with our finance department, who does the city council also has kind of a bucket of money that they do for different community grants, working with other nonprofits. And so we're going to do the grant award program sort of at around the same time, so that we can, under both grant programs, have a similar performance period. We can go to council sometime in June so that the grants are awarded before the fiscal year starts. So what I'm proposing is that, and this is what the community grants program for the council is proposing, is that the application be released on March 14th, that the grant application period run from March 14th through April 18th, and then after that, we would decide, and if you wish to do it like you did last year, where the full commission reviews the grant applications, and we would schedule a special meeting for you to have that deliberation. And then once you have made your selections, we would bring those recommendations to the city council for approval, probably on June 11th. The June date's a little bit squishy right now because we haven't heard from the council what their summer schedule is going to be, if they're going to do the first meetings, if they're going to be off any months. So that will be a little loose until we find that out. And then the grant performance period will be July 1 through June 30th for the full fiscal year. And so we've talked a little bit about this, but I wanted to spend some time with you tonight talking about, after we've gone through this process once, if there are any changes that you would like to recommend to the grant process, to the application, or eligibility requirements. And I put up in your packet is the full grant application. But a couple of things that I think we toyed a little bit with when you first were going through the grant applications, of whether you wanted to fund any sort of created art versus performance type activities. And then I think there was some discussion about whether you wanted to look at changing the maximum amount of grants that could be awarded. For the first round, it was a minimum of $250 with a maximum of $10,000. And I think you saw with all of your, I think virtually all of the applications were $10,000. So that or anything else that's within the grant application, if there's any changes that you wanted to propose, I just wanted to have that discussion so that we could make any of those changes and be ready to go for March 14th. So I'm just going to leave this up on the screen and I'm going to go to my...
And so that random question I wanted to ask you, Ann, do we have a printed list of the grants that we dispersed in the last round? I've had a couple people ask me for that, as often folks will do if they're grant writers, because they want to know what the granting body did the last time and what kinds of things they can look for to write their grants for this cycle. Do we have anything like that?
I could make a list, and I could also give you the link to the council meeting that was approved, because that has the list of applicants and it has their applications in it.
That'd be a great idea. Thank you.
Do we talk at all about this being specific to Cathedral City, or we didn't talk about that the last time, did we? I can't remember what.
Well, there is a mandate that the activity happen in Cathedral City. So that has been a clear directive from the council that these grant funds are to support things within the city. Because we've had some requests in the past that were for, and this was before the grant program started, but we've had requests of the city to send people to training or send people to events outside the city. But what that did was limit the ability of the general public to be able to participate in something. So right now, let me look up the application. I don't know that you have to be a city resident to be able to be eligible for the grant, but it has to be grant.
I don't think that was the case.
The grant
You have to be a
activities
resident,
have to be here. We didn't want it to be limiting, that there's so much talent throughout the Coachella Valley that we didn't want to limit, we have somebody right next door that could provide a really amazing program, but as long as it's in the city, that was fine. So there was no other requirement of, and I don't think there was any preference for somebody who's personally or their business was in Cathedral City versus that the activities were going to just happen in Cathedral City. So the main criteria was that they must complete the application, they must submit a W-9, or a 501c3 if they were a nonprofit. They could be a public, private, governmental, school, or tribal agency. The applicants must demonstrate that the activity occurs within the geographical boundaries of the city. The organization is not required to be in Cathedral City as long as the activity occurs here, and that the activity must be reasonably available to members of the general public. And it would be considered reasonably available where the activity is open to the general public or open to members of the public who timely reserve participation in the activity. So if there's a limited number of tickets, everyone has an equal chance of getting the tickets. Activities may be held in facilities of public entities, nonprofits, or charitable organizations or private entities, provided that the attendance must not be limited to members or owners or subscribers. So if I had a private business, I couldn't ask for funding just for my people to come. And then it can focus on certain demographic groups. So if somebody wanted to propose an event that was for youth, or was youth serving, or seniors, or some other reasonable organization of people, they could submit that as long as it does not unlawfully discriminate against any protected class. So those were really the main sort of key requirements for eligibility. And that was it. So as you've done this process once, we wanted to see if there was any changes that you wanted to make or propose so that we could update this if necessary, and be ready to roll with it.
I think that what we talked about earlier, that maybe changing the amounts, like I said, the $10,000 is a little high.
Well, and part of this, what I kind of like is almost every year we can be fluid and change that, because we're looking at what we got from the year before. So yeah, for me, not to interrupt you, but that we got 20 applications, even though it would have been smaller amounts, and I understand some things are going to take more money, but to do smaller amounts, we could support more activities and more things if it was a smaller amount. So my thought was 5,000 is the maximum. And then with this round, then we see what happens with that, how many people participate, how many we can get with that. So out of the 20, we were able to do 4. So if we do 5, we can do 6, or whatever. So, and the people that have been asking me that participated last year, I said, just do me a favor, just thinking about that, if you can do it for like whatever amounts of money, again, so I kind of like the people that have asked me, I've kind of programmed them so they don't come in going, so that they can also, if they can give funding elsewhere, if they can truly think about what it is they want to do and how they can do that. So your guys' thoughts?
As one comparison, the council's grant program, their funding allocation is $70,000, and I think their upper limit is $10,000 for $70,000.
Got it, yeah.
And so your upper limit was 50% of the funding that you had.
I don't necessarily think we should do this, and I love the idea of $5,000 instead of 10. But I remember watching you guys have this conversation on TV before I was on the commission. And the first thought I had was $20,000 is such a small amount of money, you ought to max it out at 1,000 and grant 20 grants. But I'm not sure now, after going through the process with you all in this past cycle, which I felt like went great and we shouldn't change a thing, that 5 seems reasonable. So, yeah.
Would we consider making the maximum request less than 10,000, like maybe at 5,000, so that folks don't get too carried away with what they want to do? I think 10,000 is kind of misleading, only because we only have $20,000 to give, so, I would request that we just say a maximum request of 5,000, if that makes sense to anyone else. I don't know.
I think we all agree with that.
Commissioner
I think that
Mojica,
last year we just wanted to find out what people were interested in. I think we learned a lot. So that was really good.
And I thought one of the things that was, I really appreciated about the commission's discussions and deliberation was, And I think you really wrestled with this in the right way, that if somebody had asked for $10,000, you know, would you award something less than that? And I thought, I appreciated the dialogue that you had about it, of that an organization is asking for that amount of money, and so that's the amount of money that they're asking for, and that it felt sort of uncomfortable to try to parse out, well, okay, we're not going to, you know, we're going to just like take this chunk out to make it meet this dollar requirement. Yeah. And I thought you had a pretty robust discussion about, you know, whether you wanted to do that or not. And I think the only grant that sort of was affected was you had a smaller amount that really only fit into kind of one bucket, and so you awarded that. But every other grant, you awarded fully to the amount that was requested, with the exception of, for the one senior center award, we did take out the money that we had already purchased, the racks for the display of art that they had requested in their grant application, and there was no need for that because with the purchase that the Public Arts Commission authorized, we're able to use that for other events. So that wasn't an expense that we needed to authorize for that event.
Right. Right.
Is there a way that, like, I'm just thinking out loud, to give a little bit more direction?
Could you speak into the microphone?
Sure. Is mine off or something?
I think you need to turn it on. I don't.
It should be on, sir.
Okay.
Just speak into it.
Can you hear me now? No?
A little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to speak kind of close into it.
You have to get right up there.
Like I'm singing a song. Okay.
I'll turn you up a little
Okay.
bit.
Well, anyway, what I was thinking is, like, is there any way that we can give a little bit more direction for some of the grant applicants? Like, I got the feeling that some of them were asking for just to kind of subsidize their current budget or something, and that, I think what, like...
It's not for operational costs?
Exactly, yeah. But maybe we could even somehow give them some kind of scenario or something like that, like, I don't know, if it was a children's program, and let's say that they got together with some local artist and decided to do something with the children and the artists, and that, you know, that would be interesting, you know, like that to me. But just having the money go to the program, and then they're just going to do it with the current, the whole idea was like to get art more into the programs and stuff like that.
Right,
So-
you don't want it used for operational costs.
Right.
That's easy. We just put that sentence in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have that, don't we?
I mean, bottom line is, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck, you
Right.
know? It's like,
Right.
how many people are
I
going
don't
to
think
be
we said that out
touched
loud.
by it, you know?
Right. But no, I think,
I mean, the one thing that is in here somewhere, I thought that, you know, and I think it's just, it would have to be clarified in a grant application, because I know we had one application that was asking for, I think, to rent space.
I remember renting a space, yeah.
But I think, you know, I think things like that, you know, if you're renting space because you're ongoing going to be using that space to, like, create your art is one thing. If you needed to rent a space for a couple of days because you were going to do an event, and that was part of the operational costs for doing that, that would be a separate matter. But just ongoing sort of operational rental
Right.
costs, marketing costs for the organization, there seemed to be pretty unanimous feeling that that wasn't really what this was intended for. And especially with the small amount, you know, with such a small amount, it really is to try to direct programming, I think, than the general operation of the organization.
Right.
I think, if I remember correctly, one thing that came up that I think supports having the smaller grants was that we talked about adding the question, if this doesn't cover the full amount needed for the project, do you have other partnerships or other funding in place to ensure that it goes through? And that way we felt good about granting them that smaller amount and contributing to, you know, whatever part of the program, knowing that it would take place.
And that is part of the questions that you had from last year, that they're asked to provide a budget for the project, including all their project expenses. There is a question about asking if they had other funding that will be leveraged or used, and if so, to please include.
Right. And I think part of this too, we're very happy to support a lot of these events, activities, things. And so, but again, that there's other people participating as well. Like, we're happy to contribute. Because, so that's what I was thinking about. But again, when we got so many wonderful applications, it's like I wanted to help so many of them, right? So it's like, I figured the way that we do that is if we do put a ceiling on the larger, like the higher amount, so that we can try to help more yeah.
So under operational costs, would that include like transportation? Because that seems to be something that comes up
Like
here.
what kind of
Well, we've been asked in the past to transport people to different events. Yeah, yeah.
Council has not been very supportive of that.
Yeah, and I think we just need to say no to the transportation.
And especially if it was transportation, there had been some earlier questions about transportation of like our local residents outside of the city to go to an event, and that was, that did not have council support for that either.
I agree on that too. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we have that in here.
But it might just help out with that, yeah.
So can I just ask everybody, I mean, so are we taking, but this is just a general question, is everybody here happy with that, like, idea of a $5,000 ceiling?
Yes.
Any other thoughts about, no, we're happy with that, comfortable with that dollar amount?
So what I have from you so far is the not to exceed 5,000, that the grant funding is not to be used for ongoing operational costs. Including transportation. I guess the question would be if part of the event that was being proposed, if that included transportation of the artist to the city for the event, is that something you would want to consider in that? Or are you thinking of transportation as in like getting a bus to drive people to someplace?
Yeah, I'm thinking more like getting a bus kind of thing, because, yeah.
No. Now, I think transporting artists to the city, if that's the case, would be, because again, if it's a if that's part of their deal, yeah, I think that would be
I just
okay.
want to make sure I understood what that part of the question.
Yeah, I think that would be okay.
And of course, we have the ultimate luxury of saying no.
That's correct.
So if there's something
The other
about
thing
it
I'd like to
that doesn't
propose is
fit.
I liked that all of us participated in looking at all these grants, and I would really like to have the same thing happen again, because I really liked that collaboration. That was really positive and it was really good.
I agree.
So, yep.
I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say, and that we do that same way again and set up that special time. Yep, that we had the meeting room.
Okay, then.
Anything else? Anybody else's thoughts? Anybody particular? Now, again, I was very happy with how like it went last year.
No, I really admired the work that you did on it. It was very, again, very collaborative, I think you were all very prepared and very thoughtful reviewing the applications and what worked and, what didn't work, and gave everyone a very fair review for the proposals that they had.
And I think I've been trying to go as many of the events as I can.
Okay, so
And
then,
thank you, because you've also been good about keeping us up to date about when they're happening too, because, right?
like tonight, we have our first taste and sounds of.
I know it's happening, and so we'll be out of
Yeah,
here
we'll
hopefully
breezy
before the
out.
last. But now, I have my park in the car, thank God. Right.
So if you're good with that, then I'll make those changes, and then we'll have it ready to launch March 14th.
Okay.
And we'll do it in the same way that we did before. We'll also have it both in English and Spanish, like we had promoted it last time. We will advertise it through Discover Cathedral City, and then the link in through our Facebook pages and social media. We will give you the direct links to the application for you to share through your own social media. And then we can also, advertise it to the people that have, previously applied.
That was my next question. And the other thing I would encourage all the other commissioners, if you see like anybody like you want to like that, let them know now. Because this is February, but that March is a month, and rather than have them come, unfortunately, like somebody like at the last day, I'm telling them now to get ready now before it even starts, so that they're prepared and they know and So I would encourage all of you to do the same if anybody that you know of that wants to apply.
And what we'll do again is like we did before, is as we get the applications in, we'll create a shared folder for you all so that you'll all have access to the applications and can start your review process. And we'll have that available for you when you all come together to review the packets. And if you need, if during that, if you'd like us to print out like the full copy, the full packet, so you're not having to use your home printers for large things, we have big machines that can do that kind of fun stuff. So if you'd like us to do a full packet for you to take your notes on or anything like that, we could do that for you as well.
I really want to promote this, but I'm just not sure what my script should be when I am promoting it, like who are you approaching, Craig, like when you talk about this?
Different organizations that have talked to me, people have come up with ideas, and I said, for the city, and I said the perfect way to do this, we're coming up with an arts grant program, and I said, I didn't, at that time, we weren't clear, but I said, last year it was like 10,000 max. It has to be in Cathedral City, it has to be open to the community, the tickets have to be free, basic guidelines, but any kind of arts, activity, performance, something, and then just stay tuned, because then check our Cathedral City website, and then more details will be given. But just start thinking about a project, something that you can do that supports community, and a lot of people, if they haven't done anything with nonprofits or any kind of they'll kind of get that there's a grant process. But that's kind of my basic spiel, is that we're trying to do, trying to support, but we're not giving out, but we're not giving out huge chunks of money, so don't get grandiose.
So one question I do have for you is, I know in the last round, there was one applicant that was like asking for the city to purchase like a piece of art. Do you want sort of any clarification that this isn't really about like acquiring art? Because like if we're looking at acquiring a permanent piece, we have the Art in Public Places funds for that.
Right.
So would you want this to define, because right now we have, I took the definition of like what art is from the ordinance, which was related to kind of art education, and it talks about, art can be defined in the broadest extent, using any medium, painting, sculpture, photography, lithography, performance, literature, poetry, art history, interpretation, clothing, cultural expression, etc. Do you think it needed any clarification that, we don't want people like, I want to build a sculpture for the city, and so I want to apply to this grant. I wouldn't want people wasting their time to do that. But, maybe there is some kind of a performance piece or something that is, inclusive of creating some kind of a temporary art installation, and that involves people in it. So I just wanted to see if you wanted to keep it as broad, or if you want to put any boundaries within this.
I'm trying to think, because I think we got, and in that 20, I think there was maybe 2 of those kind of requests, if I'm not mistaken. We could, I guess there could be the caveat or the thing that this is not for the purchase of an actual art piece. And I hate to be that, but it isn't, right?
Well, and I just want to make sure that people don't feel like.
And I thank you for, I think that's great, because this isn't for the purchase of an art piece.
We have our other.
So, again, that saves them time and lets them know we're really interested in programming, not purchasing.
Yeah. So, I don't want to limit it, like, if somebody wants to do a sculpture, maybe it's like a community-created piece or something, or a class on doing something.
So the exception, again, so talking about, like what happens at Burning Man, they do a temporary sculpture for a time period, and it's the community involved can participate, help, and do that, but we're not purchasing it.
Yeah.
So that's the distinction again, so this is not an art purchase.
It's not a permanent capital purchase.
No, but if they were doing an installation for a month or 2, that would be cool, that'd be great, but again, and they're involved in community and the building construction and celebrate, whatever, but yeah.
Hey, Gregory, when you were asking about what to say to people, one of the things I always say is that I'm not the only decision maker when you're talking to them, because I don't want people to think that I'm going to make this happen, because I have a commission to, you present it to all of us, and I also tell them that they'll all be reviewed at the same time, no matter when it was submitted.
I guess I said I can't make promises, because there are 5 of us that decide.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when I say that too. So there's no pressure on people. Realize it's a group. It's a group vote. So yeah.
You don't want to feel like you're leading somebody on or something.
Okay. Everything else good for that? Or?
Yeah. It's
sorry,
awesome that we're doing it.
I just pulled up the application. I saw that it requires that the proposed activity occurs within the geographical boundaries. So, it's all here. I'm sorry, I didn't question.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that has been being that it's city funded, especially with city general fund dollars, that is a requirement. Could be anywhere in the city, but.
But isn't this really cool that we're just tweaking a few things and
Yeah.
moving forward? And what's nice too, Gregory, is that like now we'll be on cycle, so we'll always say, hey, look for us, or in March we're going to be calling for.
So this is when, like, this period, like January is when I start, if anybody had come to me personally about any of these, I start telling them, get ready now. The basic thing is get ready now and keep looking at the website for the details and that, but it's get ready, think what you want to do, think what you can do, and get ready.
Yeah.
Will there be a press release sent out on the availability of this?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Will there be a press release sent out on this?
I don't know if Ryan does a press release. Certainly, we could do a press release. And then, I mean, that's certainly easy to do.
Because when we finally post the application online, will it just be like on the Cathedral City site, or is it being sent out to like any distribution list of artists, performers? I don't know if we have that available.
I have just kind of what we've put together from the people that have submitted things through the calls for artists, whether for the grant program or, we have sort of the artists that did our bench painting project. So we have like people that actually have like talent in painting and murals and things like that. And then we have the groups that have submitted their proposals for the grant funding. So we have some of those. I know when I originally, I think, did the applications, I was trying to reach out to every sort of broader organization out here, the school districts, the colleges, the performing arts organizations. So I'm certain that my, just quick looking online is not perfect, but was just trying to broaden it from just our social media efforts to directly go to potential organizations that might have capacity to do something like this. But I think certainly, just like the filmmakers group, I had never heard of them before and had no idea that they existed. And so I think what's good about this is that we find out about other groups that are doing things in our community that, and that we have an opportunity through this funding to help raise awareness of these other performing arts and events that are happening in our community and can support more of them. So yeah, I think for any of you that you can use your own social media, we'll try to promote it to all the artists that we have. I think we made some really good relationships with the artists that have been performing, or artists that have been participating in the quarterly exhibits for the Ocotillo Bench Project. And again, it's like a lot of times it's they have a friend that does something else, and so word of mouth sometimes has a lot of power, more so than maybe the regular means too.
More I talk about this with the public out there that I know, I'm also having to promote the Discover Cathedral City site. There's so many folks, they go, well, how do I find out about that? It's like, well, are you subscribed to this amazing, site that tells you everything? And it's like constantly promoting that. That's like half the battle I'm finding.
Yeah, it's a battle for general city things too. I think everyone gets their information in so many different ways, and trying to find that one place that everyone can go for everything is just near impossible. So I think we try to hit as many fronts as we can, and certainly your own personal efforts help magnify that, and the other artists that we've been involved in and other people that have applied. I think, again, the more we can individually go out, and as well as our formal methods, I think the better. But I will absolutely ask Ryan to send it out. He has a much larger media distribution, plus both English and Spanish language publications and radio and other means, so we want to make sure that we can cast that net broadly.
Is there any action required? Like, we don't need to vote on these changes, do we?
I think if you're in agreement that we're going to make sure that it's clear that it's not for ongoing operational costs, the amount is not to exceed $5,000, and that we're not looking to fund the purchase of, like a permanent art piece. I think with those three changes has really been what I've heard tonight.
Everybody in agreement?
That works for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Commissioner Travis?
Yep. I'm fine, that works.
Well, yep.
All right.
Yep.
Then
Yep.
we
Okay.
will get that going, and we will get you all the publicity and, any anything we put out on it to share
Okay.
amongst yourselves.
Thank you so much, Ann. We appreciate it. The next item is to discuss a proposal for the arts event in the amphitheater.
Chair Liebelt, just want to let you know.
Oh, sorry, public comments.
That's okay, sir.
I know, never mind.
We have no attendees in the meeting, but I also did not receive any comments either.
Okay. So any comments or anybody?
So none.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Christina, for keeping me on track. So now we're going to discuss the proposal for the arts event in the amphitheater. And may we have an introduction, please?
And I'm going to introduce you back to your own commissioner. Commissioner Stoddard had approached me about asking to have an item put on the agenda for your discussion about an art in the amphitheater event. We just had an opportunity a little bit before this meeting to talk with Ryan from our communications staff to sort of vet out some ideas and costs a little bit, but I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Stoddard to talk about his ideas and give you an explanation of what he's thinking.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. So I think everybody's probably familiar with the art fairs that happen in season here in the Coachella Valley. Some of them are really signature events, La Quinta, Southwest, although I hear that one's shrinking. Then we have a for-profit company that produces four other shows. 3 of them are in Palm Springs and one is at the river in Rancho Mirage. The commonality that all of these art fairs have, and that indeed most art fairs across the country have, is that there is a small application fee. There is usually a fairly significant fee to participate if you're accepted into the show. There is ordinarily a commission split for artist sales to the folks who are actually running the show. And typically you have to invest in your own display equipment, including tents, chairs, tables, all the other things that a booth might need. So the idea that I had that really isn't mine at all comes from the Riverside Art Museum. And this idea gelled actually when I was being interviewed for this role by the then mayor and the now mayor. When we talked about what it might look like to have an art show in the amphitheater that artists could actually afford. So that has brought us to this point, which is the possibility of an art in the amphitheater event, or call it the Cathedral City annual art show and sale. But the idea would be to start out an event for the first year, a single day event, and that's similar to what Riverside does. For the first year, limited to 40 or 50-ish 10 by 10 tents in the amphitheater, and the city already has a layout map for how to do that. It also turns out that the city owns quite a bit of the tentage that we can use for this event. We might have to rent maybe 20 tents. My thought is to do it exactly the way Riverside's doing it. Have artists sign up with a small fee, $100, $120, so they have some skin in the game. No commissions, no entry fee, no other fees associated, other than, obviously they have to be able to have a sales tax number if they're selling things and do their own sales tax submittal as other events, vendors at other events would do. It doesn't necessarily just have to be an art fair, because we also have this big convenient stage. So we could do everything from invite entertainers with a stipend to invite a variety of performers who maybe wouldn't have a venue to perform in and let them perform without necessarily being paid. So there's lots of different directions that part can take. So it's not just artists of like medium art, but also performing arts can be brought to the bear for this event. Easy enough also to have things like a children's play area, obviously food trucks. We already have really good relationships with some good food trucks, as I can hear outside right now. So that's the start. That's the start of the idea. And Commissioner Travis has agreed to be the second sponsor of the project. Our first goal will be to think about timing. And in this meeting that we had today, we centered on the possibility of late March. And the reason why next year, thank you.
Yeah, we all know,
Yeah, late March.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
I was thinking, first of March.
Let's get it together right now.
Sure.
Late March, mostly because as you take a quick think and look at the calendar, we're already done with everybody else's art shows by then. It's after our signature event, Gay Pride, about 2 or 3 weeks after. So it was Ryan's thought that the city help, all the folks that might be involved in this to help us put it together would have some breathing space, that would be a good time to do it. So we'll look at that. We'll take a look at, what the schedule in the rest of the valley looks like at that time of year, and start to slowly put together the details. And so this sort of is the beginning of that process. I imagine we'll develop a little committee of Commissioner Travis, myself, and folks from the city. Ryan was very generous with other staff from the city's time when he said that much of this we can, do ourselves with volunteers the first year. Just put it together so our budget remains low. So my goal, even though we do have a budget that we could potentially spend some of it on this event, my goal is to make it budget neutral. I think if we charge a small amount to artists, if we utilize the resources we already have, and if we utilize some volunteer help to do things like put up the tents and take them down, I think this can be budget neutral. So that's my initial presentation, and we'll keep talking about it and putting it together and generating ideas together. And hopefully we will all be attending the first annual Grand Art in the Amphitheater in March of 2026.
Questions?
This makes me very happy. I love hearing this, because I think the amphitheater is like underutilized. That's what I've had a lot of conversations about the amphitheater, and it's like people go, "There's an amphitheater?" I go, "Yeah, it's like a great, facility, but it's like, don't ask me how you can use it, because I know nothing about it, Which brings to mind, I had, in my off time this last month, I've been watching all of the city council meetings on Spectrum and on the commission, the different commissions, and I've been learning a lot, And at the last one, last city council, I think Ryan had presented something to the council on the amphitheater.
I think he did the update on like the past events that he's had for the year, I think it was. But yeah, he regularly presents to the council kind of what is proposed for the year for events, and then kind of a recap of how the year went.
Because I would love it if he could present that to us. Sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know if anyone else would be interested, but I
think he did, once. He's been here before and done that. Yeah.
We could absolutely have him back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't on. Was I here?
I think it was previous, a year ago or so, yeah.
No, we could certainly have him back, and especially with after our LGBT plus days, we are kind of mainly done with seasons, so he'll have kind of his full year to capture. Yeah.
Is there any way us individual commissioners could arrange for a tour of the facility?
Yeah.
I'd really like to see what's available, because I think during my interviews for this position, it was brought to my attention that I guess there'd been difficulties with the amphitheater with break-ins and security, and I'm going, well, how does that affect the use of it, And it's is the city committed to keeping it up? And
absolutely,
it's I just don't know what.
Yeah, I would happily, take anybody over there, and we can arrange a tour. And that was part of the reason why I'd asked when Commissioner Stoddard gave me the proposal to ask this be on the agenda. That's why I scheduled a meeting to talk with our communication staff, because the amphitheater is generally, depending on how you're using it, can be a very expensive facility. It's really kind of the shell. So you have the amphitheater itself. There is the audio equipment. There is the lighting equipment, but we have a third-party operator that runs all of that for us for our events. And then just depending on how big the event is or what the nature of it is, it might be other third parties that, like when Leanne Rhymes was here, obviously she has all of our own people and, that come in and do those kind of things. But we do have to, if it's a large seated event, we do have to rent all of that. I was surprised, I didn't know, that was something I learned today, that we actually have about 31 tents that could be utilized and that the city utilizes for its various events. So those were things that I didn't even know that we had. I just assumed that we had rented all of that. And so that also gave a different, perspective of what the potential budget cost of, doing an event like that would be. Because if we had to rent all of that, you have a $10,000 budget annually, that kind of gets sucked up pretty quickly. So being that we have the majority of those available already, that substantially cuts the cost if you wanted to try and do an event like that.
I just realized I never said that in my presentation, which is we provide the tents.
Yeah.
As opposed to the artist having to pay for a tent.
We did.
We provide the tent.
I was just going to do the math and see what 120 was times 40 artists. Did you come up, what's up?
What's it, 4,800, something like that?
But just to kind of like put some ideas out there, it's like, one of my dreams is like to promote produce a buskers festival. And I think a buskers festival would work so well with the arts festival. So more to be discussed. I don't know. Am I supposed to be officially on the agenda to talk about the Busker Festival?
No, but I think as you're talking about, you have a proposed event that is here before you, but I think those are continuing ideas that the city is trying to find ways to better utilize the amphitheater and do that within our budgets and trying to manage, the budgets that we have, and also finding different opportunities for using the amphitheater. I think Ryan and Adam are trying with the Taste and Sounds to, bring different kind of musical acts and different food vendors to have just this kind of mellow, relaxing, Tuesday night when it's not, 40 mile an hour winds that happens sometimes. But that's one thing. We have our signature events that happen. And then we have other third parties that come in and do events. So coming up, one of the items on the council agenda tomorrow night is there's an autism walk that I think is in its third year here. So they do, it's an event that is sponsored by an autism serving organization and is geared towards individuals who have neurodivergent family members. And they have resources and artistic activities and recreational activities and vendors and support networking organizations there. So we have things like that are there. Luchador Brewing has done beer events and Luchador at the amphitheater. So we're trying to find various ways, whether it's through commissions like Antonio was here earlier, the PACE Commission doing the yoga in the park, so we have daytime activities, to evening activities. I think we recognize that there is more to come for the amphitheater, and so exploring all of these kind of ideas and building, something that potentially becomes another signature event and is something that we build towards every year are great ideas.
And I think also then we kind of lose the summer season. Once you get into May, like June, July, August, September, we lose those months. But it just seems every month the Taste of Jalisco, the Balloon Festival, it was Leon Rhymes, it was like all these things now. We're really getting better, but I think, and for me, I brought this up in the past too, it's the diversity. Like, we could do theater there, we could do dance performances there, we could do more singing, there's lots, but that's kind of, to me, that's why the grant proposal, I would like those singing organizations, dance organizations to apply so they can do a performance there. So then there's some of those people that I will reach out to and tell them to apply for a grant to do that. So, yes, I have a couple questions. So, yes, as long as the fee, I agree about the commission thing and keeping the fees low. And in that, the balance of that, I also would request, and how you guys about have it be juried. So
I should have mentioned that. That's
so that, yes. And again, there's starting artists, there's all that, and we want to support that, but they still have to be at a level, right? That it's, So that was my thing about juried artists. And then for fun, it always, if not a dollar prize, but there could be like an awards for like best of show, like best of things. I know that we talked about prizes, we can't give prizes, but we could give a certificate or something, right? And then like the audience favorites, like that kind of thing too, so, right? Just an acknowledgement, because I think when you're an artist doing a show, if there's that kind of it helps them in their careers. So if it is somebody starting out.
Well, and we can make it a little bit fun,
Yes,
ongoing festivals are very serious about, the best whatever in show, and we can make it a little silly, the best decorated booth, stuff like that.
So yes, and I agree. I do like the timing about the end of March, because then we're past modernism and the big art fair. We're past Southwest, which is in January. We're past La Quinta, which is the end of February, the first weekend of March. And then I believe that date is just prior Coachella. So that's a really great time in the desert that March. So I thought the timing's great. I like the low fee part, as long as it's juried. If we could you're right, it could be, different kinds of awards too. I mean, like some, fun and some just playful and community. So, and I also like involving performance as well. Because I agree with you, because I think it's not just having an art fair. If you can invite like schools, like choirs, like anybody that just wants an opportunity to come and let people know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yes, I think it's great. It's interesting, the idea of doing it a single day to start out with, because normally, I think even 4 days gets a bit long, but even because I was envisioning maybe 2 days, like Saturday, Sunday, but.
There'd be a lot of security issues and all that.
Gotcha, and that's more costly.
It would have to be, obviously the facility can be locked at night and things secured, but there would be, if you did it overnight, you would want to have a security guard, and you might still need to do that if people are loading in the day before, just depending on how it's organized. But.
And as an artist, I would be worried more about the wind. The wind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what I'll do beginning next month is just sort of start putting ideas together. There's some information I'd like you to see from the Riverside Art Show, which I may actually participate in just to see what it's like.
When is the Riverside Art Show?
It's in March. March is also Riverside County Art Month. So that's another good tie-in for us to do it.
They're doing a thing at the I think the Cheech Museum over there. I've been seeing that too.
Also what? I'm sorry.
The Riverside County Art Month.
Is that in Riverside?
Yeah.
It's
in Riverside for the month of March.
Yeah. The county of Riverside, actually.
It's meant to be county.
Excuse me.
It's meant to be county.
And when does Desert X happen? Is that happening now?
Middle of March through the middle of March, I think, to the end of April.
And maybe we'd have something on display.
We are.
I know we are this year, but
Yeah.
next year I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So
That could become a yearly thing too, that we do some, again, because I was inspired like Burning Man, that they do all those big installation pieces for a period of time. I like that we're kind of doing something, potentially with, we're waiting for final approval tomorrow night from the council, but with the Baronis, that could also be a yearly thing. That we do like an installation.
Desert X is not a yearly thing.
No, that's every 2 years, I think, yeah.
And it's an expensive buy-in.
But ours could be a yearly thing. We could do an installation every year.
This is what I signed up for, you guys, okay?
Yeah. And so, like you, I agree. I want more performances at the amphitheater, and I want it more diversified. It reminded me of being back in Santa Fe when they actually let the White Oak Dance Project come and dance on that stage, and they took away the backdrop, and the dancers were there with the sunset behind them, and it was just so phenomenal. And I'd like to do something, that'd be great to do it here.
And I would also say that, and we have a grants administrator that, tries to keep an eye out too, but if there are any other grant programs that you see as well, or know of anything, please feel free to send them to me so that we can also research them, because we know we have a limited pool of funds, and if there are grant opportunities that make sense or could support some activities in the community, we certainly are looking for it. I haven't seen when, I have to start paying attention to this, but the grant that we applied for like the previous year, we're going to try to apply for again. But we also, I think, recognize that if we have an opportunity to build a bigger pool, that we can hopefully do more of these events or be able to broaden that as well.
So written materials for next month, when do you guys need them by?
Ms. Christina?
What's the deadline to put it on the agenda?
It should be a week from today, but let me double check that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the meeting is on the 11th. Agenda will be out to you on the 6th. So we will need that by the 18th, next week.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Anybody else, any other comments or questions? Are there any public comments or questions, Christina?
Chair, we do not have any attendees in the meeting, and I did not receive any comments electronically.
Okay. So we already did that next item. We moved to the first part. So we're going to jump down. I think we're to the point of staff comments.
One of the things that was to be on the agenda tonight, and I apologize to the commission that I did not get it scheduled early enough, was the community meeting with the school, Agua Caliente School, to do the community outreach. So we're, staff today, we're reaching back out to the school to get some additional dates, since our original proposed date was next week, and obviously we have not done any advertising. So we're going to get some additional proposed dates to send out to our commissioners from our commission and PACE. And this is to get community engagement around the art piece for the Esperanza Park. And so our hope is to do a community meeting to start and get some community input on what they would like to see in that art piece, and be able to provide some of that information in the request for qualified bidders to get a selection of artists to be considered for the grant, or I'm sorry, for the art piece. So we'll get going on that, and hopefully by tomorrow have some alternate dates for you. I do have Ryan's colleague, Kevin, working on a flyer, and we'll be able to distribute that through the schools, through their mechanism that they distribute flyers to all the parents, and then we'll also, I think, be able to do a mailer to send it out to all the residents there. And I think the commissioners were wanting to go door to door, or the one commissioner. So, so we'll try to make sure we can get that out in as many ways as possible to get as much community input as possible. So that is, I was going to mention the Riverside is Art Month, and so if you do hear of anything that's going on in our community, they try to, make people aware of all of the art and cultural activities going on through the county. And so anything that we have or are putting on, I always try to provide to them. I will put out the application to them and through them. They've been really helpful in sharing things on social media. And so yeah, that is, I think that is all I can think of right now for me.
Okay, great. Next part, we're going to hear from, I should say, the commissioners, their commissioners' reports. I'm going to start on my left with Commissioner Marks.
Sure. Well, these last 4 weeks since our last commission's meeting, I wasn't able to attend as many events I'd like to. I was actually at home hiding a lot under a rock. It's just not been a very, very pleasant time. But I did manage to go to a few things. And Desert Open Studios, wow. I mean, I was able to visit several studios in Cathedral City, and most of the Perez District studios. There were many artists I had never seen because they're not usually open like for Fourth Friday. So, I mean, it was great, and I try to concentrate on Cathedral City and West. I didn't go anything east of here. I couldn't do it, but it took me like 3 days to figure out how to download the map onto my phone and to be able to connect it to the artists I wanted to see, and then it would go directly into my GPS so I could figure out how to get there. Next year I'll be better prepared, but I'm always blown away by the quality of the artists here, and just the huge, most of the artists that were with Desert Open Studios were in Cathedral City limits, it's like, it's pretty amazing. So I just want to like say bravo. I mean, I just really feel like we live in an amazing little city that has like this incredible cultural presence, you know. I also attended Origins at CV Rep. Their Origins project is, they like feature selected stage readings of brand new works that will eventually premiere on stage at CV Rep. And it's a great, what an amazing program. I'm not sure, it's like, I don't think it's tied into the Bully project, which we like was one of these things we funded with our last grants, you know, which worked with the high school students only. But it works from playwrights across the spectrum. It's pretty amazing. And the show I saw was on January 28th was the Romeo and Juliet Senior Citizens Project, a comedy. And it was very funny. And their production values are just fantastic. It was like a full equity cast. You know, the stage manager was equity. And it was like the production was this really, it was well produced, and I'm just so impressed by CV Rep's product. We're really lucky to have them here in Cathedral City, and I found out there are only 2 equity houses in the Coachella Valley, and the other one being Des Arts, which was the company that we were hoping to move into the, I had a long talk with their managing director, I'll get to that, but I just really want to encourage you to, if you can take advantage, the programs are like free to the public. You just have to go online and register, and it's general admission, and you can sit anywhere you want, and that theater is like the best theater to see anything in. It's like you got no heads in front of you. So I'm so short. So that's like one of my major complaints. Upcoming shows are Double Helix, which I'm not sure what it's about, but I will go. It's on February 28th. And then on April 8th, they're going to do a Midsummer Night's Musical comedy, which is like right up my alley. So I was also able to attend one of the Broadway series at the PS Cultural Center. I saw Norm Lewis in concert, one of my favorite Broadway performers. But I'm really impressed by that cabaret. Well, it's not really a cabaret series, it's a Broadway series. And it's accessible. The tickets are not outrageous. Unlike a certain theater about 10 miles down the road, nothing is accessible. I mean, everything's like $160, and I'm all about accessibility. So I will continue to support that program as much as possible. I also attended the Information A Go-Go, which is sponsored by the LGBT Community Center, and it was about 50 organizations that were represented it, and I made it a point to visit all the performing arts that were there, including Des Arts, where I was able to have a really great conversation with the managing director, and I said, I personally am sad that you're not moving into Cathedral City, but I understand that you had this great opportunity, you had to take advantage of it. And they do great work. I mean, great work. And I was able to connect with a lot of service organizations, but I did connect with Palm Springs Pride. And I said, are you guys going to be doing anything with Cathedral City Pride? You know, and he goes, well, we requested that we could have a vendor booth there, but we were denied that request. And I went, not very good neighbors, are we? And it's like, I continue to find out that Pride here is like produced by an outside organization, you know, and I thought it was like produced by the city, but
we are producing it this year. We have had a third-party operator. We've had a third-party operator do it, but we're in transition this year, and this year the city is producing it. So Chris Parman, who had previously worked for the city, is taking the lead with our communications team.
Well, just my own interaction with the guy who's like in charge, I've not been impressed. I mean, he's been kind of like, well, I won't say it, but you know, I'm like going, I want to like maybe offer like Modern Men, which is my gay chorus I sing with. I'm thinking that it would be great if we could like do the gay national anthem when Mayor Roth raises the pride flag on the very first night, you know, and it's like, I don't even know who to go to approach about that. It seems
Me and Ryan Hunt. Ryan is our communications manager and special events manager, so he would be the person to start with.
I'm going to reach out to him, and because he's actually the one I reached out to about volunteering. He's been great, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed when I heard all that.
Well, and I would like to know kind of who that is, because that doesn't sound like we would not want them here. So I'd want to make sure that that's actually correct, and if there was a problem, we could correct it.
You know, the gays are hardest on each other. So what can I say? Upcoming, though, I'm going to be attending Salon for the Parched. There are a series of discussions during high season, but it's sponsored by the Palm Springs Architectural Alliance. But the particular one I'm going to in 2 weeks is inside the AIDS Memorial, and I really want to find out what their process was, you know, and why the first go around didn't go so well, and like what did they change to make the second go around go well. So yeah, so that's like upcoming, and let's see, I'm also attending it's a concert at the home of Rich Weissman and J.D. Horn. They're very connected, and especially like in performing arts. So, and they're very wealthy. I just have to put that out there. There's like going to be 100 in attendance, and I'm going to be networking. Okay, I guarantee it. And then I'm also looking forward to attending the Writers Series at the Rancho Mirage Library. It's like, I wanted to attend the festival, but it's like totally inaccessible. It's like $500 for a pass, you know, but what a great festival. I think it's going on right now, or maybe it was last week, but they have a series of writers that like will present each month, and I'm there. But that's like basically what I've been up to, but I don't know if it's appropriate to bring this up, but I'm just like really concerned about our national, what's going on in our country. But basically all arts commitments in the country are being dismantled. I had a long talk with friends at the National Endowment for the Arts this weekend, and they've already received their letters of like, either like resign now or we'll like get rid of you in September. I'm not sure where that's all going to go, but it's happening across the board. And there's no commitment to the NEA anymore. Trump has like done away with the President's Advisory Council for the Arts, which was just...
Commissioner?
Which was...
Commissioner Marks, I'm sorry. This portion is just about your reports of like your activities. So it's getting a little too far afield, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I'll stop.
Oh, sorry. So, okay. Let's go this side.
Me?
Yes, your turn, yes.
So hats off to Commissioner Travis for putting on another really good weekend quarterly art festival at the library. I spent a little time over there with him. Very well run. Artists did a great job. Not as well attended as it has been in the past. It was a tough weekend, Super Bowl weekend. And so I can see why maybe that was an issue. But there were some new artists there, some great work. I loved the energy. So hats off to you, Vice Chair Travis. I was sort of busy in January with my own show. I had a show at the Stephen Baumbaugh Gallery all month, and I also was there for Desert Open Studios, thank you, because my brain just went dead. So the crowds were great, the vibe was great. I really enjoyed the opportunity to exhibit my work there. Again, Commissioner Vice Chair Travis and I met with a group of artists from the Perez Art District. They wanted to learn a little bit more about what our commission does. They wanted to hear a little bit about what we knew around issues like signage. and they wanted to hear about how our grant process goes. So they're definitely a group of people who may be thinking about applying for grants for different reasons. So that was some time well spent. I appreciate the conversation we had a little while ago about art in the amphitheater. I have a feeling that we're going to remember this date as the beginning of what could become a signature event for Cathedral City, so I'm excited about that. And finally, I attended last week the opening reception for their annual juried ACE show at the Artists Council at the Galen, which is in Palm Desert. And they were also kind enough to jury in one of my photographs, which is on display there. You can see it until, I think, the first week of March. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Commissioner Mojica?
Thank you. I just wanted to say I'm really looking forward to the aspects of our Public Arts Commission programming that will be putting out resources into the community. Just to kind of briefly echo, a lot of our national resources are either on pause or uncertain, and so I think now more than ever, local resources are going to be very critical to the livelihood of our local artists, and so whatever we can do to support that, I'm really, excited about and behind, and I think we have some really great opportunities lined up, especially with the Community Arts Grant program. So really looking forward to that in March, looking forward to having the community meeting for this new park in the Dream Homes neighborhood, and whenever we have that date, we'll put it out, but just for the community to be on the lookout for that opportunity to connect with us. And yeah, I just want to thank you all for always thinking about the affordability and accessibility of our programming. I think that's very important to the residents of our community, and as the cost of everything goes up in other areas of life, I think it's going to be critical to keep the arts accessible to folks more than ever. So thank you.
Yep, I agree. Yes, thank you. Commissioner Travis.
Thank you. Last month was getting ready for a lot of different shows in the community, which was kind of fun, including our quarterly art exhibit. So we had 7 artists, and it was nice and roomy. I liked it. I think that it wasn't too crowded, and they did really well. I also have been recruiting more artists, and we keep recruiting them all year long until our cutoff dates of our different exhibits.
Let us know if we need to re-announce sort of for the next shows. If you need anybody, just let us know, and we'll republish.
One of the things I was going to ask is that I had several artists during the last call. They got a little confused on clicking on the right thing for the application. It was almost like, it should say like application. That would really help out. So what I did, I looked it up and I sent it to them. So yeah, but I think that would be helpful because people get overwhelmed because sometimes they're new to that. So anyway, so at the last weekend, we had the 8th and 9th, we had, I wrote it down here, we had 48 visitors on Saturday and 53 on Sunday, which was kind of weird, even though it was, we just had a lot of people coming in and out,
Was that 53? I'm sorry.
Huh?
How many on Sunday? 50.
Sunday was 53, yeah. So we had over 101, I got 101 visitors altogether. People sold some art. The smaller art went more than the larger art, but I think that's kind of in with the times. People are like kind of holding on to things. I think that art's the first thing that kind of gets cut out. Yeah. But that was interesting. And then on the 31st, I attended the Daughters of the American Revolution presentation at the Agnes Pelton. And it was really, really nice. It was very nice. And I met Ari there again, the guy who presented to us last time. And I'll be going to their meeting on the 22nd on the possibility of making that a museum or something, this study. It's going to be a year long or so. And then, so what's really interesting was, so I did an art show at the Tool Shed, which is a local bar at night, so I never had an art show from 6 to 11 before. So that was interesting. So
Did you stay awake?
I definitely stayed awake. It was packed. It was packed. And so anyway, so that was really neat. I met a lot of other artists, 2 of them who have applied for our art exhibit. So I'm always out there working the thing. Then I also opened my home for the Desert Open Studios, and I had over 65 visitors. Ann was there, and Gregory came. Gregory was my last visitor. You know,
Got more than
I opened the door, and he goes, "Oh, you live here?" I go, "Yeah, I'm here." He's so funny. But anyway, so it was really a good time, busy month for art, that's for sure. I'm thinking that, in my mind, I'm thinking out loud, is that maybe I might want to push the one to March, early March, not late, but early March next year, and it could be in with the whole Riverside art thing, and I don't know, it just depends what we come up with. What happened, we had another date, but the library had a conflict, so I had to change that date to this one. And I didn't have any radar on the Super Bowl because I'm not a Super Bowl person. So I didn't have any radar. But I do check with Ryan, and we try to make sure that we don't collide with anything else. Okay, and then what was the other? I think the art in the amphitheater, I'm very excited. I even like the name Art in the Amphitheater. I think that's kind of cool. And then I was thinking, Gregory, like you're the vocalist of the group, you know, the singer, right? I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be fun if maybe at the amphitheater someday that they could do one of those sing-along things with, like, you know, how they do the Sound of Music or something like? Wouldn't that be a blast? You know, you could get all the folks from the city in there and have a picnic lunch or dinner or whatever. Yeah, but I was thinking that maybe your Modern Men people could help out with that or something. Yeah.
I would actually like to see a thing too where it's the battle of the choirs or the singing groups. So like you get all of them, like any singing and choral group in the valley. I think that would be
perfect pitch.
No, but I think, you know, that's the playful way of saying it, but to bring all these groups and to chance to, like, you know, give them like a certain amount of whatever time too, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
No, but anyway, so and I did get to see the perfect arrangement at the Bent Theater. And it was really well done. It was from the 50s era, and then you're watching it, and it's funny, and then it's serious at the same time, and you're sitting there going, we're going through the same thing again. Oh my gosh, you know, so it was pretty profound. So that was really good. So if anybody gets a chance to see that, that's good. But anyway, that's my report, sir.
Thank you so much. Mine is going to be much relatively shorter because the last month for me has been a blur of upper respiratory infection and limited availability to be out and about. And the second one was a job change as of about 3 weeks ago. So that it has just kept me very, very preoccupied. The couple things I have been doing is going to openings. You know that I've been working on this thing with the Baronis coming up for soon. Another really fascinating thing too, I haven't had a time to go see it in person. I have photographs. There's a really beautiful gallery that I have been friendly with in Palm Desert for a long time. It's probably if you've never been to Gallery A, Lisa and her mom run it. They're fabulous human beings. They do incredible programming at their gallery, Gallery A in Palm Desert. And one of their collector's patrons wants to do something nice for the city and heard about my work on the Arts Commission, and they want to donate a sculpture. And it's a really beautiful sculpture. I've seen pictures. I just have to go see it in person. And they just have a few like requests around that, so I've got to go see it, talk to them, and do that. So I just haven't had a chance yet. I've been going to some gallery openings. I couldn't make it to all the ones I wanted to because of everything going on. And the other thing I will promote is coming up, the Chuck Jones Gallery in Palm Desert. It's pretty amazing. It was able to get together with Lucy Arnaz Jr., and they're going to do a screening of the documentary she did about her parents. It's going to be at the gallery. What impressed me is it's a fundraiser for artists who lost their income in Los Angeles. That impressed me. It's not about it's about what can we do It's about support of all these circumstances around us. What can we do? And I'm pleased to say, I'm pretty sure there's going to be, and there are different participation levels financially, so there is a range, but for a very private Q&A screening, whatever, higher, but I think it's pretty close to being, like, it's going over really well. So thanks to her for doing that and supporting this local gallery here, and to raise money for people that truly need it, losing into whatever happened in LA. So I'm going to be doing that coming up soon. I think it's March 8th. And there's just been some great, openings. We all know the La Quinta Arts Festival is coming up. I'm going to be a judge again in that. That's coming up the end of this month, the first weekend of March. I'm always looking forward to that. I'm very excited about what you've done and the thoughts about that, and knowing that we can make that very accessible to artists. That really makes me happy too. And it could also set up other kinds of even festivals in the future, knowing we can do that. So if we set a precedent, it just brings up the past within Santa Fe. It was this, the Spanish market, and there's different kinds of things. So that just opens up a doorway, again, where we can become that cutting edge city that does not just, we can do different things. So thank you so much for your work on that. So, and other than that, I think, yes, Perez Art Road Walk is always the last Friday of every month, and the galleries there just keep getting better. The artists are doing an incredible job. And the last but not least, what's been the artists that did our Ocotillo Bench project that I've become friends with on social media, like Diane Morgan just got an award. I'm just happy to watch their careers and their successes. And the other one too, the reason I'm so pleased about the Baroni installation is they have done so much to so many nonprofit organizations, and it goes back about community and supporting each other and helping organizations. I've heard that they, I think, are getting a walk on the Palm Springs Walk, star on the Walk of Fame. So I'm very, very happy for them, because again, they have given for the Palm Springs Animal Shelter. I mean, there's just so many organizations and things, and I'm so happy that we get to have them for that period of time and celebrate their work and their legacy of what they've done. And in conjunction with that, they're going to do a pop-up gallery in Palm Desert of the clothing and jewelry. And that was an event recently where people were like wearing all of their jewelry, and it's really cool and beautiful. And so it's going to be really fun. They're going to have that for sale. So I'm happy to, celebrate them. So.
Where will you be tomorrow?
What's that?
Where will you be tomorrow?
Where am I going to be tomorrow?
City Council meeting?
Oh, the City Council meeting. I'll be at the City Council meeting, yes. Sorry, this week is it's sort of back to back to back. Yes, to make sure if there's any questions about that, so, yep.
The other thing, just for your information, tomorrow night in the council meeting, I know that a previous commissioner had brought an item about changing how the chair and vice chair positions were selected. And so that presentation will be coming to the council at 3 o'clock tomorrow for them to just review and see if they wish to make any changes.
Is that open to the public?
It is. It's the study
session, but does that happen in this room?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it starts here, and then they do the study session for as long as it takes, and then if they have a gap, then they come back at 5:30.
And I do, and it's so funny, I forget, one of the other things that our grant program supported is the jazz event happening at the Roost, and I don't remember the exact date. And I will share with you, so if you didn't go, you gotta go. Last year was they recreated that famous photograph from like 1963, like all these different musicians on the steps. And I went there, and then the musicians all went next door to the Roost, and each played like a song or two. And I just went to make an appearance, and I wasn't planning. I stayed until it was over, because it was so good. It was so phenomenal. I'm so glad, like that money supported that. And I remember one of the artists that just totally blew me away. I was walking out, and she was walking, and I just got to have a whole conversation with her walking out, and I won't forget her. I mean, so she was so phenomenal.
It's February 22nd.
February 22nd, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
It's an odd time, but it's so, I would say definitely if you can make it, because it is so phenomenal, and you'll get to see an array of artists that are, unbelievable. So
you need to make
reservations.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything, but it's just that it's limited seating.
Yep.
I think the reason that it's so early is that they're all jazz performers and they're working at night.
Yeah, they're all working that night, so, and it doesn't affect their voices because they were phenomenal. So it was like, yes. I said mimosas and jazz, there's, worse things to do on a Saturday afternoon. Well, for me, it's margaritas, but yeah. Yep, yes. Okay, so I guess at that, do we need to ask for any comments or questions?
No, sir.
I'm just messing. I guess the meeting is adjourned.
No, okay, well, I wanted to make a point, but just one final point. And I'm sorry I got off track, thank you for reeling me in. But the point I was getting to is that we really are going to have to act locally. And that proves to me the importance of our grants program. It's got to happen for here, and at the state level. So
I agree, but this is it is. And look at what's happening right here, and look at, again, what this city can create and what we can do. From was at the Taste of Jalisco to the Balloon Festival, I try to, and watching the people of the community, and there is this sense of, I love this community, so, yeah. You're right.
Are we done?
We're adjourned. Okay.